Hello, and welcome back to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast, the show where we help investors develop the mindset, tactics, and tools to be a successful foreclosure investor. In this episode, we're going to talk about billionaire Peter Thiel and his prediction about the looming real estate catastrophe. Listen, when smart money talks, smart investors are listening. It's going to be a great show. Stay tuned. Hello, and welcome back to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. I am your host and Foreclosure Deals Coach, Donnie Corum. And again, this is the show where we help investors just like you to find, figure, fund, fix, and flip a foreclosure deal through my foreclosure profit system. Listen, if you're looking to get started in real estate investing, you have two options. Option one is you can hop out there and try to figure this out on your own. But I always relate that to if I was a pilot, right? You want to get a pilot's license. You're not going to find a plane, hop inside, and figure out how to fly it. And if you are going to do that, I'm not getting on that plane with you, right? Smart investors realize that they need support. They need a system. And with the foreclosure profit system, I will help you to find a deal, figure or analyze the deal properly, fund it with my list of private investors that fund deals for my clients, fix it with my list of contractors that give me special pricing and incredible prices on materials, and then flip it with my agent who offers a flat fee substantially lower than you can flip a property for yourself. The foreclosure profit system is a one-stop shop for everything that you need to get started in real estate investing, and a surefire way to make sure you can do consistent deals with $25,000 in profit or more. So would love to see you out there. Take a look at the URL, click foreclosureprofitsystem.com, register for a call, and let's discuss if this is the right fit for you. All right, let's get to it, guys. What is going on in the real estate market today? That's why you tune into the show. Well, today we want to talk about a famous investor, Peter Thiel. I'm going to share my screen here because he recently released an article on Yahoo News. Let's check it out here. Peter Thiel warns of a looming real estate catastrophe. Now, that's a scary word, is it not? Catastrophe. That's potentially coming in the real estate market right now. And what I want to discuss on the show today is how we can benefit from it. He goes on to say there's going to be a massive hit to the lower and middle class and young people who can't buy homes. And there's some obvious signs of that already happening, right? High interest rates mean that buyers are being priced out of the market in a lot of markets, Colorado Springs being one of those. The median price of a home is just under $500,000 here in the Colorado Springs market. So a lot of young people are not going to be able to afford a home. This is really bad because you have a reduction in people who own homes as people just naturally die off. You know, we're all getting older. Unfortunately, we'll not be on this planet and be going to another place, a better place when we leave, right? But then you need to bring in young buyers into the marketplace. If you don't have a lot of young buyers to replace those buyers who are dying off, you could definitely struggle. Thiel lays it out simply. When a city's population grows by 10%, housing prices can spike by 50%, right? Easily. And then we've seen that a couple of times. As Colorado Springs population has grown, we've seen a ton of increase in housing prices. But wages, they don't rise nearly as fast. So the economy may be going up. The people who win during that are people who already owned homes, especially older generations, specifically like my parents, the boomer generation, while people who are just coming into the market now find themselves locked out, struggling to compete. If you lose the lower middle class young people, then you're missing an entire segment of the marketplace that is critical for the entry-level home. Now, very easy to hear this news and go, oh boy, not a good time to invest, right? But I want you to counter this a little bit. What we know for certain is that the government at some point is going to get involved with housing. Why do we know that to be absolute fact? Well, because housing ties to every aspect of the economy. If you lose housing, right, if people can't afford homes or there's a lot of foreclosures on the market, you have less desire to build. If building goes away, you lose materials. If materials goes away, the construction industry suffers, right? If a bunch of people are no longer doing construction, you find that you have a bunch of unemployment. Unemployment leads to other major purchases not happening, like people stop buying cars. If people don't buy cars, manufacturing of cars slows down, right? I could go on for a long time here about how many places the housing market impacts. With that in mind, the federal government, usually smart about these kind of things, is almost certain going to step in and curb a housing crisis. No president wants to go down in history as one of the worst presidents as it relates to housing. So pretty much every president who's facing a housing crisis has done something about it. Example, you remember when Obama was in office, right? And the housing market was in a shambles at that point. What did Obama do about it? Well, he put an $8,000 tax credit. And I'll never forget this because I was a young real estate agent at the time. And they basically started paying people $8,000 in pure cash on their taxes, right? In exchange for buying a house. Needless to say, this created a major boom in the housing market, okay? So I believe our federal government, being run by a businessman, has a very high probability in changing this momentum. So they're going to step in at some point. How will they do so? Well, my vote is reduce the interest rates. Now, obviously, in doing so, you create an inflationary economy. That's what they're trying to stave off. That's why the rates went up so high, right? They were trying to reduce inflation, and they did a great job of that, even doing too much towards it, and then caused some other problems, okay? But you have to understand that the entire global economy is looking at this. Peter goes on to mention that the housing market is not just a local problem for us in the US. This is also happening in Britain, Canada, and other countries where strict zoning laws have made building new homes nearly impossible. Okay, people love to talk about inflation when egg prices jump up, according to Thiel, but that's not the real issue. The real big cost item is rent. Even when grocery prices go up or fluctuate, most people aren't seeing the cost of eggs, even though they're higher, eat up their paycheck. But housing makes up a large percentage. Okay, and he's finally argues that rent inflation has been ignored for far too long. A lot of people blame that on immigration. Really, what it comes down to, and I totally agree with this, is that it's zoning laws and excessive government regulation that make building new housing nearly impossible. When it is possible, it's super expensive. Okay, so he believes, and I support this fully, that the housing crisis starts with zoning reform, which is fundamentally a government problem, right? And restrictive policies are choking supply and driving up costs. So what is going to happen in all of this? Well, in my opinion, you're going to see some government interaction in the near future that's going to stave off this crisis. They're going to reduce the zoning. They've already talked about the tariffs that could potentially increase the cost to build houses further if we start adding a tariff to Canadian lumber. This is super scary stuff for real estate, right? If the cost of building goes even higher, what are we going to do? Well, here's what I think we're going to do. We're going to start focusing not on building brand new houses that are heavily laden with brand new lumber, right? That's going to be high tariffs. It's going to get very expensive if Trump's tariff policies go through. But we're going to see a push to remodeling these older homes. We could solve this housing crisis entirely, in my opinion, by going back and looking at the properties that have been sitting unremodeled for 40, 50 years. They've got inefficient windows, inefficient furnace systems, inefficient floor plans. Things have changed drastically in that space. So people are going to start looking very carefully at older homes and figuring out how to make them more efficient. The R rating of insulation has gone up drastically in recent years. With blown insulation, we can make homes much more efficient than we used to be able to make them. The roofing systems have come a long way. Heating and air conditioning systems have gotten more efficient in the last 50 to 60 years, right? But a lot of these old homes are sitting there without the updated technology that could make them better. On top of that, the millennial buyer is buying Teslas not just because they're cool cars, but because of the tech package, right? When I had a Tesla and it had this giant screen, that was huge in its day. Now a lot of cars have giant screens, but when I got my Tesla, the screen size was abnormally large, and all the tech in this car, including autopilot, made the Tesla a technology marvel. Okay, this generation of buyers is going to want to see more technology in their homes. They're going to want to see it more efficient, more modern. The appliance packages have come a long way, right? All of this adds up to technology is going to dictate the future of home ownership, and retrofitting houses that have antiquated technology is going to be far more effective than building new homes. This is a huge opportunity for us as investors. We are finding great deals in the market right now because the home sellers that are in these properties know that their property is 50 years past remodel date, right? There's lots of things they've been putting off. Really should have upgraded those windows. I should have upgraded the electrical system. There's all these things that I know I should have done in the 30 years they've owned the property that they didn't have the time or money to do. Okay, those properties are now coming to market, right? Because those people, unfortunately, are passing away, and somebody's got to deal, this next generation's got to deal with all these antiquated houses. You hear the opportunity knocking there? Do you hear what's happening? Okay, what this means to you as an investor is if we buy those properties, modernize them, not just the systems, because systems are important, but the look, right? I'm really proud of the condo that I live in downtown. It's super modern, right? And my wife's an interior designer, so she's very good at modernizing spaces. That's her thing. But one of the reasons we loved the condo was not what we were getting when we got it, but what we could do to it to modernize it and make it more modern, futuristic look in the times. When people come over to my place, they inevitably say, man, this place looks amazing, right? People are going to want that for their home, but they can't do that to a home they rent. Right? If you're paying rent, you're not going to modernize the property, put in new flooring, new paint, new carpet. You're only going to do that to a property that you own. Better still, you're going to want to find a property that has already been modernized by an investor. And this is where the opportunity comes in for investors just like you to start doing deals and benefit from this crisis that Peter Thiel thinks is coming. And I agree with him wholeheartedly. Homes are going to need to be modernized to be affordable. Okay, people are not going to buy an antiquated house for $300,000, $350,000 and then spend $40,000 fixing it up, even if they've got equity in that home when they're done. Most people do not want to buy a fixer-upper. However, investors like you and me are looking for those exact deals, and we can modernize them, make them nice, make them gorgeous, and still price them significantly below the cost to do a full ground-up build. Okay, what this means to you as an investor is if we get involved in real estate investing now while the getting's good, okay, we are able to set up systems through the foreclosure profit system where we're going to find the deals for you, analyze the deals in real time, fund it using my lender, and then fix it to modernized standards. We've even modernized the selling process of getting the property sold. We're advertising the property without the need to have an agent involved. So not just the houses need to be modernized, but the entire real estate process needs to be modernized, and the foreclosure profit system does all of that. Now, you could certainly figure this out on your own. You could go out there and you could learn how to flip houses on your own. You could do trial by error like so many people do. And I read a statistic a while back that up to 85% of people who do their first flip lose money on that deal. Now, that's the cost of doing business, right? That's not the end of the world. If you're really into this, it's worth it to lose money on it for the first couple of deals to make money in the long run. Is it not? Aren't there a lot of businesses that lose money in the first few years of operation? That's absolute fact, isn't it? However, if you could avoid that part of the process, if you could get into a system right now that would help you to avoid losing money on the first couple of deals that you did, would you do it? Of course you would. And if Peter Thiel is predicting that's going to get very tough for future home buyers to buy property, and you're going to have a glut in buyers who are like, I really want to buy, but I don't know where to go because I can't afford anything. I certainly can't afford to build a property. Where are they going to turn? To our fully remodeled homes. Listen, a market crisis, even the one in 2008, did not mean that nobody was buying homes. Okay, what it meant is that much less people were buying homes, and only the nice homes that were priced well were able to sell. Okay, the mindset is that the market turns off. That is not the case. We cannot get to zero, but it does mean that only the top 20% of homes are going to sell in this bad market. So you're going to have a structure to build those top 20%. And the investors that understand that, the investors that get involved when the getting is good, right now when things are going well, when the getting gets bad and there's a situation in the market like Peter Thiel is predicting, we will already have systems in place to adapt to the current market crisis and allow us to benefit from it, not lose out on it. Okay, so my encouragement is to look at what's happening in the marketplace. Look at what's actually adapting, not what the press is saying, not what the articles are saying, but watch what's happening in your market today. I can tell you that we're buying the best deals we've seen in some time for our clients. Okay, one client last week closed at a deal and pocketed $65,000. Stay tuned to the show. We're going to be interviewing them on a future show. What a great story you're going to hear on that one. Okay, but bought a home, fixed it up, came out gorgeously. They pocketed $65,000 in take-home profit. Okay, because we're geniuses? No, because we're timing the market and well. And obviously, when you're timing the market, you can't predict the outcome all the time, and nobody can fully time the market. But if you've got more data and your data is more powerful, it's much like a day trading platform. If you're familiar with that, where you're getting level 2 or level 3 trading, the data that we're accessing right now is like the level 3 access data to the real estate market. And that data is super expensive. You've got the choice to invest in that data on your own, Okay. Or you can hire somebody like myself as an advisor to help you to analyze that data, find you deals on your behalf, help you to analyze and fix those deals to market, and then make money on the back end profit. It really is a no-brainer opportunity for the right investor who sees the opportunity and wants to be a part of the change the market's about to come to. So guys, I am so excited, as I'm sure you can tell. My advice to you today is consider hopping on foreclosureprofitsystem.com. Check out that website. Watch the video there where I go over how my entire process works, and listen to the news. Listen to the economic data that's taking place right now. And most importantly, keep an eye on the government. What are they going to do to stave this thing off and avoid another housing crisis, which they simply can't afford because it causes all sorts of other problems? I'm not saying I know what the answer is. I'm saying that they're going to figure that answer out in due time because they don't have a choice. Okay. Housing ties to the entire global economy. Okay. So they're going to figure it out. Cheaper building costs, less zoning restrictions, lower interest rates, all sorts of stuff is going to come down the pike to stave off a major real estate crisis. You as a private investor have two very distinct choices. One is you could wait this thing out, right? When the market gets good again, I'll invest. Or if you're a smart investor, you're going to hop on board right now, learn how to profit from a system that's working in our favor as is today and is only going to get better as the market starts to decline a little bit. Okay, we've got to buy the deals better so we can sell them for a little bit cheaper, but we're finding such incredible deals because a lot of people are panic selling right now based on what they feel is going to happen to the government next. Okay, I don't believe any of that stuff. I don't believe that the market's going to crash entirely. I don't believe that people are going to get out of the industry entirely. And I don't believe that the current administration is trying to take from the people. I think there's some overdue change that people have been waiting for some time that is now going to come out. We're going to see that change, and the housing market's going to benefit in droves from it. Okay, so get prepared for that, and also understand that there's a right way and a wrong way to do everything. Right, the wrong way generally is trying to figure it out on your own. Okay, going out there and navigating the housing market by yourself, it's a major purchase, and it's a big deal if you're a retail buyer, which is why buyer's agents became so important in latter years. Right, people hired a buyer's agent because they're trying to navigate the biggest purchase they've ever made. They wanted a professional to help them out. That's where the buyer's agent really took off, because that was a critical point. In the investing world, it's even more important. I'm not a real estate agent, but as a real estate advisor, I can help you to navigate the choppy waters of real estate investing. And I'm already listening to the news. I'm paying attention to the Peter Thiels of the world and analyzing the market in real time right here in the local markets that we target. And I'm super excited that although we've been doing business mostly in Colorado Springs and Pueblo for the majority of my career, we've done a couple in other states like Florida, but I'm excited to announce that we're going to be launching the Phoenix market by the end of second quarter. We should have our first deals out there. So my buyers are not only going to be buying right here in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and Pueblo, but also able to pick and choose deals in Phoenix. I'll let you in on a secret. I'm going down there because I'm sick of the weather here. I love you, Colorado. I do, but I can't do another winter. I'm over it. Okay, this winter was really hard on me. It's hard on a lot of us. I can't do it again. So we're setting up shop right now, getting construction crews in that market, and we'll be starting to flip houses in the Phoenix market this year. Stay tuned for that. Some very interesting developments are coming down the pike. With that is kind of our show for today. If you're still watching, I'd love to hear your thoughts and your comments on what you think the real estate market is going to do next based on Peter Thiel's assessment that a housing catastrophe is coming. I will tell you what, I hope he's right, because I think a catastrophe is really good for us as real estate investors. You just have to be prepared for it before it happens, because the guys who are prepared for it are going to be mopping up all the great deals. My clients are going to benefit hugely from a real estate correction, and I believe that you as one of my clients could benefit from it as well. Imagine finding, funding, fixing, and flipping a deal with a $25,000 profit, and imagine how many times per year you could pull that off if you just get started today, and help me to help you to find deals. With that, this is Donnie Coram, your foreclosure deals coach, thanking you so much for tuning in each and every single week to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast, and reminding you now and always, don't buy a house, buy a deal.